Now over here, this is all the postcard inventory. This is listed inventory. There's over 100,000 cards because I have multiples like this. Welcome back to SMPostcards. Today, got the little agenda again. What's sold on eBay? I'm going to go through the variety of cards. I sold 18 cards today, but a couple bigger orders. Then special topic is Knott's Berry Farm Postcards. Amusement Park, California. I don't know much about it. Now I know a little bit more. So do these cards sell? We're going to walk through that, some history of Knott's Berry Farm, some facts about it, and I'll show you some of the cards. Then I going over one of the polls. I like to do this one a couple times a year, 2 or 3 times a year. What is the average number of cards you list a day? We have a lot of people in here that are part-time, full-time. This is what they do. They sell other things. So this is kind of important to me to know what you do. I know what I do. And we'll go over that poll in that section after Knott's Berry Farm. And then in the viewer comments, you want to stick around. I had a question is, how do I store non-postcard items that I sell? Because I do sell some other things. I have knowledge of the toys and stuff like that, and sometimes I just can't pass them up. I also have that Ko-Fi store. So a person asked me, how do I store that stuff? So I did a little clip about where I store things, a little bit about my inventory. So if you haven't seen some of my last videos, stick around for viewer comments at the end, and I put some clips together to help figure that out. And then I have another one from somebody that said he was totally doing it wrong until he saw the videos and people's comments. Always stick around to the end for viewer comments. But I'm going to go ahead and get started on what's sold. I'm just going to go through real quick what cards they are, talk a little bit about them, and then I'll give you if I met my goal for the day. The first card that's sold is just basically a view card of Epps Creek in Catskill Mountains, New York. Remember, I have a Catskill Mountains video coming this year. I'll get to it, but it's just a creek. $4.75. Then I sold George Brett. Got a bunch of baseball cards, postcards. From, I think this is like 1980s. But George Brett was the third baseman. I was the third baseman a lot. I played third base, shortstop, second, center field, left field. Is basically where I played. And I remember George Brett. So I got like 3 of George Brett, but he sold for $4.75. I found a lot of those 80s baseball cards, even some of the good players, just didn't break the $5 mark on comps and stuff. Sold this card, and this is the Gothic Room somewhere. City of Detroit. I remember getting a bunch of Detroit postcards, and this is the Gothic Room at the Steamer City in Detroit. It's a $4.75 card. I thought it was more of a church than anything. Unposted, chrome card, $4.75. Then I sold the Capitol General Court, Williamsburg, Virginia. Williamsburg, I have a video for that. Unposted, $4.75. A lot of the Williamsburgs are touristy cards, so be careful of those. Then I sold one of these ships. This is the Mount Baker AE-34. It's an ammunition ship, and it's a publisher card. It does have a little curve on it, not as bad as it used to be. I've tightened those boxes up pretty tight because I used to store them, and the way they stored them for years, the club, they had a nice curve on them, but I've tightened those boxes up to get these fibers in this card back to where it was. But I sold him for $4.75. Then I sold NASA, looks like Franklin Institute, a whole bunch of spaceships. Museum card, unposted, $4.75. This one sold for $5.75. It's kind of a retreat. When I did the comps, they were a little higher, but I just know these romance cards. This is Lover's Retreat, Rehoboth, Delaware. It had a few things going for it, Delaware and stuff. It's got a little tear in the corner up here. But I kept it at $5.75 just to move it, because some of these romance ones and stuff kind of said it was posted in 1908, divided back. But I got it out of here. Only been in the store maybe 3 or 4 days, which is good. You got to move some of those cards and get them out there. Then this is a bear, or you might keep off the wall, or you might get wet. It looks like a form of Hudson, New Hampshire, near Nassau. This is a fountain with a bear. Sold itself probably $4.75. This card sold for $6.65. It is the Tribune Tower Oakland, California. Real thick card. White border. Not posted. And that was $6.65. This is one of the bigger orders. Gentleman bought 3 of these ships. This ship. This is called a Walnut. USCGC. And USCGC means United States Coast Guard. So that's a Coast Guard boat. Walnut W-252. And he bought 4 of those and got volume discount, and that came to $19 for 4 of those prints. Next one person bought 2 cards. This is the YMCA Canton, Ohio. Of those hundreds of YMCAs I bought. White border card, unposted. And then the YMCA building Canton, another view. So there's 2 different views of the Canton, Ohio YMCA that he bought. And total of $9.50. I don't have a lot into those YMCAs, but I did put a lot of them up. Next one is St. Charles Avenue, Casa Grande Apartments. Usually apartments. Get the word apartments in. For some reason, I always sell apartments. This is a divided back card of the apartments there. $4.75. Didn't find much on it, if I remember right. This is the Majestic Hotel and Baths, Hot Springs National Park. Posted 1963 chrome card. Kind of an artist rendering, I think. If you look at that, it doesn't look like a real building. $4.75. And then this is $7.65. $7.65 US dollars. This is Shiprock, Peabody, Massachusetts. Peabody was one of those names from that one lot I bought with the cabinets. I'll put the video up here. But there was 2 albums in that haul, and in those albums there was Hackensack, Pennsylvania, and Peabody. And those 2 towns paid for the thing 4 times over. Now I did go through one of the boxes the other day. I was doing some stuff, and I found that the bottom of the box got wet. So luckily I didn't pay a lot for that haul, but those cards were real wavy and stuff. I couldn't do anything with them. I wouldn't even sell them to a scrapper. They were just that bad on the bottom. Not the whole box, but I would say close to half had some. You couldn't see it from the top of the cards, and you really couldn't see it on the bottom, but some kind of moisture got in there. So I think they maybe changed boxes, but I still made my money off of cards like this, the Shiprock, undivided back, and that sold for $7.65. So my total was 18 cards for $93.92. Take 93.92 divided by 18 gives me a 523 ASP, average sale price. Still going up. Not a lot this time, but I also sold a lot of 100 postcards out of the Ko-Fi store, and they get a pack of sleeves with that, and that's going out to Alan. He bought that one. I have a bunch of lots in there, and what's neat about buying the lots in Ko-Fi is I try to price them for the sellers, and I put collages. I do 100 cards because I can put 10 photos in Ko-Fi. It's not like eBay. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It's pretty generic how you list. They don't have custom labels. They don't have any shipping. I do it all through Pirate Ship. So you got to put a flat rate in there. But I do these collages. I'll show you a couple. So you can actually see the front of the cards that are in each lot. So if you want to go into Ko-Fi and you're looking for a small lot, and if you're a member for $3 or $4 a month in Ko-Fi, you get them for 40% off. So a $30 lot of 100 postcards, you get it for $18 plus shipping. And you can see the cards, the 3 collages I showed there. So I try to do 10 cards per collage. That's 100 cards. And plus, keep it low. And you'll see why I do the smaller lots, because a lot of people on here are 5,000 cards and below. This isn't their full-time gig. They sell other things, have a full-time job, family, medical, and they just want a small lot to work with. And that's what I like to do, is the smaller lots. I don't think I'll ever put a 1,000 card lot up, stuff like that. But that's what's sold. Beginning of every video I usually go through that, just give you a variety, that kind of self-check you on what you do and what's being sold. Some of these cards, like those view cards of the creek, a lot of people wouldn't put those up. If I haven't seen it before, a lot of times I'll put it up. You never know. If you're only listing cards that you think will sell, you're listing your collection, not the other people's. Now some cards will sit. I'll tell you, they never sell. I got boxes of them over there, as you'll see. But let's get into the special topic of Knott's Berry Farm. Interesting place. I didn't know a lot about it. I've never been to Knott's Berry Farm, and it was a little cryptic on what it was to me. I don't. People out west probably know what it was and that, but I found some information about it, pared it down, and I got 3 facts also we'll go through. But I'm going to show you some postcards of ones I found of Knott's Berry Farm that sold or out there while I talk through this. Here we go. Knott's Berry Farm, located in Buena Park, California, has a rich history that dates back to the 1920s. It all began when Walter Knott, that's where it got the name, Knott's Berry Farm, and his family started a small berry farm during the Great Depression. To make ends meet, they decided to sell their delicious boysenberries, homemade jams to passing travelers on Highway 39. The farm soon became popular for its tasty treats, and Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner restaurant was born, which is still a beloved part of the park today. As the years went by, Walter Knott added attractions like a ghost town, a mining town replica, laying the foundation of what would eventually become Knott's Berry Farm. In the 1960s, the Knott family decided to expand the farm and transform it into a full-fledged amusement park. They introduced thrilling rides, including the iconic Timber Mountain Log Ride and Calico Mine Ride. Knott's Berry Farm quickly became a hotspot for family fun, blending the charm of the Old West and modern amusements over the years. The park continued to grow, adding roller coasters, water rides, live entertainment, making it a must-visit destination for people of all ages. Today, Knott's Berry Farm stands as one of Southern California's most popular theme parks. Its rich history, from humble berry farm to a world-class amusement park, serves as a testament to the Knott's family entrepreneurial spirit and dedication to providing wholesome entertainment. With a wide variety of rides, shows, delicious food offerings, Knott's Berry Farm continues to be a place where families can create lasting memories together, just as they have for nearly a century. This thing's been around a long time. I'm amazed that I didn't know a lot about it. I get Knott's Berry Farm cards, but I didn't know a lot about them. I really never looked at this deep into it. And that's why I love doing these videos, because I dig deeper and to get a better foundation of what these cards are when I see them. And we're going to go over sell-through rate and price here in a second. But there's 3 facts I found. It was interesting. Chicken Dinner Restaurant origins. Knott's Berry Farm, known for its thrilling rides and attractions, actually started a simple roadside berry stand and chicken dinner restaurant in the 1920s. Walter Knott and his family began selling berries, jams, and homemade pies from their farm in Buena, California. Eventually, Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner restaurant became so popular that it played a significant role in the park's development. So chicken turned into cash. The second fact, Ghost Town authentic origins. Knott's Berry Farm Ghost Town area is renowned for its authentic Western theme. What makes it odd is that many of the buildings in the ghost town were not created as props, but were actual buildings that Walter Knott collected from around Southern California. These structures were disassembled, transported to the park, and reassembled to create the Old West atmosphere that visitors today. So those buildings were moved from other places. And 3, legalized gambling in the past. Knott's Berry Farm Ghost Slot Machine. In the early 1940s, Knott's Berry Farm had an unexpected chapter in its history as it briefly operated a gambling establishment. Due to the limitations on entertainment during World War II, Walter Knott obtained a gambling license for the park. However, this was short-lived, and once the war ended, he closed down the gambling operations and returned to focus on family-friendly entertainment, which eventually led to the amusement park we know today. So it was a casino? Interesting. But that's the foundation set for you. There's a lot more out there about Knott's Berry Farm. If you're close to it, might want to visit it one day. I don't know if I'll ever get there because it's way out west. But that's what I know of Knott's Berry Farm now. Now, do these things move? Do these cards move through the eBay system? Do they sell? One of the things I use just to help me when I'm looking through cards and gain a foundation so I have a better chance of picking the ones that might sell, is I use this little chart here, and it's sell-through rate. Sold divided by listed times 100 gives you a percentage. And you round up or down, and it will fall in one of these ranges. The 0 to 3 are your lower ones, your view cards, your flowers, and stuff like that are harder, longer sell. Doesn't mean they won't sell, doesn't mean that they will sell. It's just a gauge I use. Then your average and high from 4% to 10% is where I like to work. I look for those cards. I become more aware for those cards. And when I'm doing that, I see the 11% plus sell-through rate cards are very high. The Halloween cards and stuff like that, I don't actively search those as much as I do the high and the average. You will become more aware of postcards as you get into them. So that's, we'll set what I'm going to talk about here in a second, is that, watch this little gauge. So I went out there and I did sell-through rate. Oh, I just sold a postcard. It sold for $13.28, Second Ward School, Frankfort, Indiana. And that came from that Indiana auction I went to. So $13.28 for a school. I bought a big tray of 100 schools, and that sold. So I just went out there and put postcard Knott's Berry Farm, and I come up with this. 370 are sold, 3,900 listed. It seemed low to me for amusement parks. So I ran it a couple times and stuff. Remember, this is just a snapshot of the last 90 days. It's sometime I do it on eBay. If you did it right now, it might be different. This is just a snapshot to get it to fall in one of these ranges to see a general idea, not down to the last card and all that stuff. No people get into the semantics of things so much they forget about, was it the tree through the forest or forest through the tree thing. You just want to have a ballpark, because it'll change when you bring it home. Either you bought a bunch of Knott's Berry Farms and you're not going to make your money back, or you're going to make good out of 10 cards out of the 20 that you bought. You want to reduce the risk of bad buys, and this helps. You'll never reduce it 100%. You will make bad buys. You will find a card that you think is the coolest card you ever saw, and you come back and it's a $4 card, $3 card. That's all, and there's hundreds of them listed. It just depends, but this will help you get a better chance. So Knott's Berry Farm came out to be 9%. And if you look at the chart, it's in the high. It's above average range, so it's in the high. It's not real high, and it's not real low, and it's not average. It's high. But you got to bump it up against other things, kind of measure things. You got to put it in the same field. Oranges for oranges, apples for apples. If you start mixing apples, cherries, lemons together, it gets a mess. So I like to show you that I bumped it up against a few things. The Postcard Disneyland, which is one of the bigger ones that I always pick up if it's for a good price, always good. They'll sell for me. It might not for you. Depends on what you price them and all the other variables out there. 17% for Disney. And there's 10,000 cards out there. And Knott's Berry Farm, little amusement park out in California, not the big mouse house, 9%. So I think it gives it a little bit of running there. Then you got Six Flags of America. We used to go to Six Flags up here in Gurnee, which is about 2 hours away. I think it's about 2 hours up north, and I did some work up in that area and stuff, but we used to take a trip every year to Six Flags Great America. And I think the Demon was one of the roller coasters I rode. Wasn't a big ride guy. Motion in me, but I loved going up there and stuff as kids just to get away. We used to take field trips at different events and stuff. 11%. Knott's Berry Farm's at 9%. Then Santa Claus Land, you'll see those postcards. As you get into postcards, you're going to see Santa Claus Land. It was in Indiana. And I want to do a video about it because I want to, just like the Knott's Berry Farm, I want to learn more about these. Some of those cards I've done pretty well with. 10%, still in the ballpark, and Knott's Berry Farm's 9%. So it's on the lower. Oh, I just sold another postcard. Nope, they paid. So 9%. So 9% up in the high. I would take a second look at the Knott's Berry Farm for sell-through rate. You got a pretty good chance of these getting sold. Then I went out there and I want to find the high watermark. Just a snapshot. What is the highest watermark out of these cards? What has someone got out of these cards? Might have been that one buyer paid up on it or whatever, but I just want to see what the highest of these things are. First one here was Postcard Winter Park, California Maxine, the Story Lady, Knott's Berry Farm. So there, I guess there's a Story Lady. I haven't seen this card. I haven't sold it. $36.50. They sold this card for. That looked like a chrome card to me. Then you got a real photo postcard. Knott's Berry Farm, Fiddlin' Charlie Ware. Now we had the Story Lady and we had Charlie Ware. So there's something with the subject. Is it subject based with Knott's Berry Farm with these characters? $102.50 for a real photo of Knott's Berry Farm. So dig through your cards. If you got any real photos of Knott's Berry Farm, go out and do some more homework. Might be some extra dollars for you. Then you got the Chinese laundry. I thought this was interesting. Knott's Berry Farm, California, 1999. I don't know if that's a real photo postcard. It has the white, like they would put on the negative and stuff, but I don't know if it's a reprint or whatever. I didn't dig that deep into it. But $19, and we had another one sell for $102 of Charlie Ware, the fiddler. Maybe that one was a little underpriced if it was a real photo. But that's the high watermark. That's the one that the water is going to go over the dam on there. Those are extreme, the three ones I wanted to show you. But I like that Chinese laundry one. Then you get into, take out real high ones and take out the real low ones and work in the middle. That's where I like to work, right down the middle, the average. And while I'm working in the average, I usually see some lows, probably more lows than highs. Then I see some of the very highs, and then I take a look and see what they're going for and see if I can pick those up and make any money on them and take an educated guess. But I like to work right down the middle. You find more cards, you have more fun, and when you sell them, you don't have a lot into them, so if something happens, you don't have to worry about that, and you can buy a lot of cards and store a lot of cards. As you're going to see here in a minute in the viewer comments, you can store a lot of cards in a very small space, which keeps the overhead down so you can price your cards better. But here's 3 average high. This is the watermark for your average cards. I'm not putting the lows in here anymore because everybody knows about the 99 cents and stuff like that. I don't even look at those and put those in the calculation, and I don't put the ones I just showed you, the real high ones. They sell themselves. This is the average stuff you're going to sell every day that's going to pay your bills, keep your lights on, and make it fun. This is Postcard Calico Mine Ghost Town. We talked about that in the little story I said. $8.39. That's a chrome card. I think I've had this card and I probably sold it for $4 or $5. I didn't do my homework, and I didn't know that much about Knott's Berry Farm. Now I do. It's going to get a second look, or third. $8.39. Then the next one is Camp Snoopy. Very subject based with these Knott's Berry Farms. Camp Snoopy, Knott's Berry Farm. Continental size postcard. They put in the title. I don't put that stuff in my titles. I don't put damage, Continental, and all that other stuff up there. I want people to get into the listing. That person, those people are never going to click on that listing if they're not looking for, only look for standard cards. Get them in there and see if you can get them to buy it by looking at your good scans and stuff. Not your 10,000 word description and all that stuff. You got item specifics you can put Continental in the size in. That's about it. And people know standard and Continental postcards pretty much. They should, but I don't put those in the title. Maybe some of you disagree with all that, but I just feel I want to get them into the listing, get them another chance. I don't want them to go somewhere else. I want them to stay there. That sold for $7.99, $8 for a Continental Camp Snoopy. Remember what I said from the Yellowstone? Anytime there's camping, Wiley camp, any kind of camp, I double check, because even camping, scout camps and all that stuff has done well for me over the years. Then you got the last one, postcard Calico Log Ride, Knott's Berry Farm. We talked about that timber ride, that little ride. That one went pretty good, $7.43. So if you look at the high watermark, it's probably $7 to $8, $7 to $10. I'll still take that over a view card of a cactus in the desert that I sell for $4.75. That's 2 of those cards. So these are nice average cards to keep things moving, get the cash flow coming in and stuff like that. I knew very little about Knott's Berry Farm. Now I know if I see them in a box and they're for a good price, quarter boxes, 50-cent boxes, I know I can get my money back. So when I go to the shows or I'm looking through to buy a lot, and I see a bunch of section that they curated out for Knott's Berry Farm, right there, if there's if you got 100 Knott's Berry Farm in a lot you're going to buy, you know you're going to get at least $700 for those cards, $500 to $700. And if you're only paying $80 for the whole lot of all the other cards and stuff, Knott's Berry Farm would pay for that lot. That's Postcards, exponential. Each card you buy in a lot brings the price down. So you want to check all this stuff. It's hard to keep track when I do it. I do it pretty well automatic when I look at things, and I do miss. But after a while, once you get doing postcards and looking for average cards and stuff, you're going to become more aware and you're going to get better at it. You just got to do it. You're going to get some duds. You might find some cards that I talked about on here just don't do well for you. There's some cards other people I've seen sell that I just can't move, and I got 20 of them. More than that. And I check price and everything, they just don't sell. So it's like the magic 8-ball. You shake it and see what happens sometimes. But that's Knott's Berry Farm. Go for a ride. And if any of you got some good Knott's Berry Farms out there, some real photo postcards you kept as your collection or you've sold, remember, I'm doing the show and tell part when I get 3 or 4 stuff from viewers. Show off what you got. Show off your collection. Show off your Knott's Berry Farms. Whatever. Send it to contact@SMPostcards.com and I'll see if I can use it. If I do, I'll let you know what video's in. And remember, sometimes I get ahead on these videos. So like recording this video today might be a month ago. I batch them up when I do them. When I get enough information and have time, I batch it up so I can do other things. So sometimes the date of the video. So if you send it to me, it could be a month or so out, or it could be 2 weeks. Depends what I got done. But I really like to be ahead on videos, so if I want to go do something, I don't have to worry and race like a lot of YouTubers do to record a video for this week, do 3 this week. No, I already got all mine done. I got a bunch I got to edit, but I'm so far ahead that there's no rush. It took a while to get there, but now I got a nice little flow, and it works. That's Knott's Berry Farm. Who knew? And remember, stick around for viewer comments about how I store the Ko-Fi stuff, the non-postcard stuff, and I walked around and did a little quickie of my other things. But there's a poll I did. On average, how many postcards do you list per day? The top one was interesting. I don't know why it stuck to me this time, but 1 to 10 was 42%. Everything else was under 20. So people are only listing 1 to 10 postcards. What's that tell me? 2 things. They're either very part-time, do this as a hobby, or just do this as a filler. Or 2, they sell other things and they've added postcards to it. They're more focused on the whole, all of it together is how I feel about it. It's not the people with 50,000 cards and stuff like that. These are people that participated here that got it up to 42%, I think, are the part-timers and the ones that sell other things as well, as you'll see in one of the comments. Now, I list 40 to 50 a day. I wanted to do 40 a day. Now, if you sell 10 cards a day and you're listing 40, I take the 10 away and it gives me 30. So I've only gained 30. And a lot of people say, how did you get 50,000 cards listed? That's a lot of time. Why do you got that many? Well, when you list them and they don't sell, stuff like that happens. They just keep sitting in the box. They're not selling, is one of the things. And another thing is I sell average cards. That's the bulk of my inventory, my listings. You got to have a variety. You got to have a lot. You got to let the people come in and have a variety to look around. You want to get them out of the big fish pond and get them into your little pond. And let them, you got all the different varieties. I'm putting some music composers up. Who's going to buy those? Don't know. It might be a thing, might not, but it's out there. They don't need to leave my store. I got the whole gamut I'm trying to fill. NASA, ships, birds, planes, flowers, Knott's Berry Farm. They can sit there and search through 50,000 cards and not leave my store. And plus, knowing they're going to get good service, hassle-free returns, shipped in 1 or 2 days, good scans. I back up everything I sell no matter what. If they don't like it, I will refund. If it gets lost or damaged, definitely refund, because eBay standard envelope, you'll get your money back in 30 to 90 days. But the second one here was 21 to 30. That made me feel a little better, that there's some bigger sellers out there and I'm doing okay. And that 1 to 10 there for a second, I had to think about it. These are part-timers and people selling other things, not just 100% postcards like I do. Well, 95, as you'll see, percent. I sell a few other things. I just can't help myself. Then the next one after that was 11 to 20. So if you look at it, I would say 10 to 20 cards a day is what people are doing. Now just think if you got better at it. You could take that 1 to 10 and make it 10 to 20. Just by watching this video and see what other people comment and how they do things. Just pick out one thing from each seller that comments here or what you see, and don't get caught up in those rabbit holes. Set them to the side and do them all together in the rabbit hole when you got time. But plow through those average and high cards and get them up there, and then when you get a 6 or 10 of those really special ones you want to dig through, just sit down and do it then. I found it worked for me. That way I can get done. But I do steps. I'll do 10 now, and I'll do 10 after lunch, 10 before dinner, 10 after dinner, to try to reach my 40. Some days I only get 20 up. Then the next day I said, okay, now I got to do 50 for 2 days. Just try to get my average for a month. Sometimes I don't make it. I'm the boss. No one's going to fire me if I don't. I might not sell a lot, but you want to create the selling cycles. So if you're listing every day, and people say it's about activity on eBay, I don't think it's that. It's more about the cycle, the sales cycle. It's when you put a product up, it starts going through the cycles. And if you're listing every day, you got all these different things and all these different cycles hitting different parts of its journey. And if you list only once every 5 days, your sales are gonna do that. So I don't think it's all eBay. It's just normal. Stores have it, Microsoft has it. Everybody that has a sales development cycle. I forgot the name of it, but I did a video a little bit about it. But I don't think they're watching if you sign into eBay as much as all that other stuff. People are taking stuff and running with it. If it says above standard and top rated on my screen, I'm fine with eBay. That's the gauge they give me. I don't make up all this other stuff about answering messages and doing all these other things. It's fine. But we had 15% said other, and I only got 2 comments. One of the comments came from Chris, Boldly Grow Pickers. Just did my numbers for November and averaged 31 listings a day, with 86 being the most in one day. That's good, Chris. If I remember right, you used to be a little lower than that, but that's how you keep moving. I just sold another postcard. I'm on a roll. $4.75 for Boston Stone. The Boston Stone, Boston, Massachusetts. $4.75. I have no idea what that is. The Boston Stone? $4.75. So he did the numbers. He averages 31 listings a day, which is very good. Chris has a full-time job. He hunts dinosaurs. He does geology. He's a doctor and things, so he's very analytic. Anybody get to that level in education know what it takes to get there, and I commend you for that. I used to have to go through certifications and stuff like that, and I would study forever to get through some of those tests. And we'd walk in one of the certifications I did. You walk in a room, you couldn't bring anything in the room. You had to store your backpack and all your other stuff in a locker outside. You're sat down at a computer, and then as soon as it starts, you got a certain amount of time, and they just started jamming scenarios at me and questions, and you had to get so many. And I thought I was doing very poorly because I was going a little quick, but it was a lot of stuff that I had experience with, but there was a few questions there I had to think about, and I said, I'll put that to the side. When I got over, I had enough points. I was fine, and I was one of the first ones done. You look around, but I've been doing this for years, telecommunications and stuff, but to be certified to work on certain systems, you had to have this certification, or they wouldn't let you in the door. And it was interesting when I walked in there. I think that's when I had my foot surgery. I had crutches, and I could bring the crutches in, but everything else I had to put in a locker. And I remember it was kind of tough doing that. But appreciate it, Chris. And then Ackyard on Orchard. I think I'm saying that right. I have 4 other non-postcards shop, so I listed in waves and not daily, unfortunately. Exactly what I was thinking. This comment helped me understand the 1 to 10, why it's at 42%, is they got other things going on, not just postcards. They need the bigger items. and stuff. A little bit more faster selling stuff, because postcards can sit if you don't have a lot of them. So he's doing, it's a filler. When I had the toy store, I started selling postcards because they would take a real deep dive to toy sales with movies, seasonal, and things like that, unless you got some G1 Generation 1 Transformers and stuff like that. The new ones I had to get in early, and then they would just die. I had to sell them right away before the Amazon pallet people got them. You know, pallets of them sent to those guys, and they sent them into Amazon. So I would get them a little early sometimes, and sometimes not, and they would just tank. And the postcards would help keep those values not as low, and that's why I started selling those. And that's what he's doing here, is he's just being a little bit broad and kind of feeling things out. And I think that's what a lot of people do, along with being part-time and just doing it for supplemental money. I do this to supplement my retirement, plus gives me something to do. I like doing this stuff. I like organizing. I like analytical. Everything's a 1 and a 0. There's no in between with me. And I had to find something to do. That was my biggest concern. Going on 5 years retired, I'm happy because I have something to do every day. And if I don't want to do it, I don't have to. But that's the poll. If you have any poll questions, any questions in your mind about selling postcards, and you'd like to find out what other people are doing, not just me, the viewers. This channel is more about the viewers. You guys, you, on what you want to see. Send me a question, and if you want to put your selections, just look at my polls and just put your selections in there too. I'll see if I can use it. Send it to contact@SMPostcards.com. In 2024, I'd like to get at least 50% of the polls I put out from viewers, and just to get a good mix, because if I keep doing it myself, I keep looking at what I think. I want to see what you guys think on there. Maybe one of the polls is, do you sell only postcards or not? That's how I think of polls. I got them scheduled out to March, so I want to get a few more. Now, we're going to get into viewer comments. I only got 2, because the first one, I did a couple minute clips to answer this question. I just took the camera, walked over, and started recording. It was better than showing you pictures. So I'm going to put this clip in here, but I'm going to read the question first. It says, I have seen how you store your postcards, etc. Probably watched some of my other videos. But how do you do the non-postcard items like the lots and Ko-Fi, etc.? So it piqued his interest. I'm not just doing the white boxes right next to me here. I have some other things. What do I do with those? That's the curiosity that will make you grow. When you're green, you grow. When you're not, you rot, as one guy told me. And that's what this person sent me an email about. And I talked to him, sent him back and forth, and we're fine. But I saved this, and I did a clip. So I'm going to walk through, and I'm going to do this clip here. And it walks through where I stored a Ko-Fi in my basement. It's kind of temporary right now, because I'll show you. I want to see where it's going to go. But I want to probably put some shelves or a cabinet or something where I can keep this stuff out there. I don't have a lot of stock. Some things I do that sell well, but I'm still working through it. I put some eBay boxes down so they don't fall through the slats, but I'll make it permanent once I know for sure on what it's going to be and how big it is. It's really about how many shelves I would need, where I want to put it, is a cabinet better, stuff like that. And then I walk you through what I've done with the rack that I showed in a video right on the other side of this wall here, and a little bit about my storage here that some people might not have seen that, and stuff I do. So hopefully it'll help. If you got any questions about it, there's other videos about it, or you can just send me a message, comment on the video, or send a message to contact@SMPostcards.com. Here's the clip, and I'll be back right afterwards for the next thing. Now here's where I keep everything for Ko-Fi. On these racks here in the corner, I have 2 racks right now. I want to get down to 1 rack and put it right over there and have this open over here. This is just a little cubby hole we have in the basement. Here's some boxes I picked up in that Nashville haul up there. There's some other ones. That's where I stuck all these. I do have another spot in that room there full of postcards. That's our other storage area that I want to move out to here to get them out of there so they're not out of sight and out of mind. Over there are some other postcards. Here is miscellaneous stuff, maybe some postcards in there and stuff like that. 2 boxes of, there's 100 pack of standard sleeves in each one of those. So there's 200 packs there. Up here is some other miscellaneous stuff that I'll be getting rid of. This is where I store the Continental sleeves, rigid mailers. These are all the lots that are done. Now, these are wrapped in shrink wrap, so I don't mix them up or whatever, and they each have a name because Ko-Fi doesn't have a custom label, so I got to put the name and stuff on them. Some other stuff that's listed in the store, the Continentals or bigger packs, some auction finds kits, some other sleeves, coffee cups, card sleeves down there, dividers, miscellaneous things. Then I also am a collector and seller of vintage lunch boxes. I have all these lunch boxes, metal lunch boxes and stuff. That's one of the harder ones to get. I wish that one was better condition. Kung Fu, if it had thermos, is pretty good. Fraggle Rock, people remember those. Thundercats. But that's where I keep some of my things there. And there's some other stuff for Ko-Fi. Those are 8x10 movie shots and stuff. But this is basically where I keep everything for Ko-Fi for now, is just on these shelves, because I really want to see how it grows, and I want to get rid of one of these racks and put some shelves up here and make it better. But I need to know how big do I want to make this Ko-Fi store. I don't want to make it monstrous where it takes a lot of time and stuff like that. These are easy to do. All this stuff is easy on there. I have some like naval pass by sensor cards, so whenever I sell something I just walk over here and grab it, and that's basically how I keep all the Ko-Fi stuff for now. And this is what I've done with that one shelf. Up there is 1,000 Echo Swift envelopes. I have another one coming. I have another 1,000 in the room. Just the other day I had someone buy 100 mailers from me, and I just basically give them at my cost. Pretty much is there just a little bump to pay the taxes and the fees and stuff, but that's 1,500 per box. Some other miscellaneous boxes, and this is where I put some of the postcards I have over here. These boxes, like this one's got some ships, miscellaneous. These I've emptied out. I'm trying to go through as much of the stuff that I can this year and just get this back stock down is what I'm doing with all this. But it's right outside my office door now, so it's not out of sight, out of mind. And again, this is where I keep my other supplies for everything. Basically, this stuff is just for background for the thing. Here's where I put the Flintstone guys. There's Bam Bam, Wilma, Betty, Fred, and Barney. I haven't looked for the other ones yet. And there's a clap saddle, some Halloween cards, miscellaneous, some sleeves I use. This is where I put the standard sleeves, so when I sell a lot and it gets a pack of sleeves, I just come over and I grab a pack of sleeves, throw it in the box, and when I get down to one case, I order 2 or 3 more cases from there. This is another, basically, about 500, 600 other shipping supplies and stuff there. And again, basically, this is all my stock for 2024. And that's my little heater because it does get cold down here. But that's where I build the lots right back there, because I put those together. And then my scanners, and then I have some other Halloween cards and stuff up here. But that's basically how I keep everything. It can change. It comes and goes as I get things in and try to get rid of stuff. Now over here, this is all the postcard inventory. This is listed inventory. There's over 100,000 cards because I have multiples like this, 40923. I might have 200-300 of this one, if I can get one out, this one ship card here. So there's one listing. So this is a listing is going to be close to 50,000 postcards listed with over 100,000 postcards. And the listing price, if everybody wrote me a check for exactly what's listed on eBay, it would be over $500,000. So over $500,000 of listed out there. But down here is where I keep, when I got this stuff from Daniel, I just kind of stuck it down here. And if you notice, I'm starting to get more and more stuff moved out, and I'll be able to reuse that space. And I just put little things in the bottom. I keep it off the floor that I have room for another. One of these is about 10,000, another 10,000 cards. But that's where I keep the other stuff, how I store everything, if that helps. If you got any more questions about that, I got a lot of videos about this. But my oldest card is up there, number 1 box, because every so often, about 2 or 3 times a year, I tighten the boxes up because you sell out of every card, and I just start moving stuff toward number 1. Now, when I reach 60,000 cards around there, I'm not going to go to an anchor store. I'll just start lotting up those cards, and the older boxes, maybe someone else can do something with them. I'll put them for a good price just to move them, and that'll free up those as I go. But I still will continue to list, but I need to move some of those cards that have been out there since 2019, 2018, stuff like that. I got rid of a lot during Whatnot, but they're still there. And this is our buddy. He just got a bath this morning, so he's a little wet. He's trying to figure things out. Say hi, Sal. Yeah, he's all tuckered out now. He'll dry off, and then he'll spend the rest of the day picking his feathers. You can see the wetness on his chin. But he had breakfast and everything this morning. He was good. But that's how I do things. So that was it. Got any questions, let me know. It's the way I do things. I change it up all the time. Not major changes. I do small things. You know, like using boxes instead of poly bags and stuff, whatever. Little craft folders. I use white boxes. I get that question all the time. Why don't you put them in tubs? I started with the white boxes. And I get them from Bags Unlimited. That's what I started with. And that's what I use. I could use the ones with cut down in the middle. But I wanted them all the same. I'm just weird like that. So if I started with tubs, I would use tubs. If I started with the ones that open up, I would use that. There's so many ways to do it, as you'll see in the next question here. But if you got any questions, let me know. Other people chime in the way you do things. There's not a right or wrong of this. You can do it whatever way you want, as long as it works for you. You got a system, and you know how it works. It'll just get better over time. And that's what I'm doing with Ko-Fi. I've learned in the past, don't go hog wild and set it up the first place. I'm going to change it up 2 or 3 times. That's the second time. The other time I put it in little boxes, I had to dig through the box. I couldn't tell what I had to count it. Now I got everything laid out so I see what's selling. I can walk over there and see it real quick. And everything's kept nice and neat, not jump around the box. So that's number 2. And we'll probably get to 3 or 4 before I figure it out. But I learned from my experience. Thanks for that question, whoever sent that in. It was in an email, so I didn't put the name in here. Next question, and the last one. I didn't want to, with that clip, I didn't want to load it up too much. He came in and he said, Mark, I have been trying to sell postcards on eBay forever. Keywords here, trying to sell. Forever. Losing confidence in it. Frustration. I was doing it all wrong. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. There's pieces of it that you do that might have screwed things up, is how I think. After watching your videos and understanding some of your thinking, don't get in this mind too close because it can get weird. I have now turned the corner making some money and moving cards. Great. I'd love to hear that they found something in one of my videos that helped them. It helps me, that's why I share it. I was spending way too much time sorting, pricing, and packing the postcards. I have taken a little pieces of what you and others have said here and cut the time down a ton. So his curiosity is also up. He's found little things from everybody that comments here. Everybody's good at this. You're just starting out, you're good at it. You're good at the point that you started. Everybody starts at card 1 and they move forward. Everybody starts. I remember the times when do I need to wear gloves when I touch these things? I get that question all the time. Why do you touch them without gloves? These were made to be mailed. They're not sports cards. You don't worry about stuff like that with these things, but you got to get over that hump. There's no magic thing. It's experience. Experience equals skills, and skills equals sales and money. The better you get at it, but you got to do it. So he picked it from other people, which I really think is great. Thank you, and look forward to every Monday for your videos. I put a longer video like this out every Monday instead of breaking this up in 4 different videos like a lot of people do just to get videos out there. I do one long video. Down at the bottom there's chapters. You can jump, you can skip over what's sold, go right to a special topic, and don't watch the rest. It's up to you. But I just put it all in one video. It's easier for me to do it all at once and to edit and put it out there, and easier that once a week that you get one. Now, I do put other ones out here and there as I do the eBay analysis, standard envelope analysis, or I go to an auction. You'll get one on a Friday or a Saturday or a Wednesday, stuff like that. I like the 1 day a week longer video. It helps me with my time. But if you got any comments, just send them in. Remember, if it's on YouTube, I consider it public. Send it to me in email. It's like these. I don't put the name in unless I ask or they say it's okay. I kind of keep it personal a little bit, but I think I've gotten back to everybody. If I haven't, send it again. Let me know. So that's all I got today. I did a clip of the fish room. People have been asking me. So it's not in detail. I was gonna do another part later on this year, walking through how I set it up and how it was done and stuff like that in the video, because a lot of people have asked. I just can't do it as a fish video, because I'm gonna get all these aquarium people in and they're gonna see postcards and unsubscribe, and it can, YouTube will throw up on itself on my channel. So this is just a 25-30 second thing of the tanks in that room right behind me here. And we'll get in more detail later this year. So you gotta watch inside the videos when you're there. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Here's the fish room. Bye.